The $7.1 million secrets to getting more from your advertising and marketing. So right away, unique, useful. Why is it unique? Does anyone want to take a shot at why it's unique? Tyler says first time. Tom says first time. Yeah, so basically, I kind of said that right as soon as I read it. First time ever does make this unique. It's not like I invented like some new term, right? Like, oh, internal trend jacking, one of the sales letters that I wrote that we've gone over in the past, like right away is like this unique mechanism. But it's unique in that it fulfills the only requirement, right? Only available through me. Only I have it because it's revealed for the first time ever, which now this is it's really out of date because it's been out for 6 years, as we just said. But for the first time ever, the secrets. So right there you have that only emotion being hit twice. First time ever, only. So this is new, only. New, only. So I know NESB. When I wrote this sales letter, if I had anything, it was NESB. So revealed for the first time ever, the $7.1 million secrets, that's useful to getting more from your advertising and marketing. More customers, more sales, more money, more success, more happiness. Okay, is it urgent? We can go ahead and just say no. Is it ultra specific? We'll give it yes. And the only reason is 7.1. So I'll say this. I've told you that in the ultra specific realm, it used to be like the more specific your number was, that was like your ultra specificity. Now what I say is you got to identify something specific about like the event, the opportunity, or the guru that gives it some credibility. And that's what I would say for ultra specific. This idea of just leaning on a specific number, I think is soft. I think it's weak. I mean, 6 years later, I've seen a lot stronger headlines. So I would say that it does qualify technically, but it's still kind of soft. Something else I want to talk about with the idea of it being unique. There are two types of headlines formats that I think are really easy to sort of grasp conceptually. And they are the biggest thing ever and something with a slight quirk. So we talked about America's new abnormal, right? The hottest IPO in history. This seems to fall into like big thing, like a big giant event. But also, I wanted to just come back to the idea because I feel like you're going to overthink this unique thing. You think you got to have like a mechanism or something like that. And I just want you to realize that it's unique because I just used the new and only emotions. It's revealed for the first time ever, and it's the secrets. Okay? Now, let's break down the actual headline complex. I would say that this should have been an eyebrow. I don't think that this should have been written like this in the design. I'm not sure. I could actually pull up the old Take Their Money sales page before we went to Go High Level and see if it was an eyebrow. Ah, I see what I did. So this was all eyebrow, and then more was the headline. Interesting. And then I had deck copy and sort of like quote box. Okay. So technically, this is the eyebrow. More should have been like a bigger, bolder headline. And I want to go over like the rules of these as I understand them now. It's kind of complicated. All right. From your advertising and marketing. So here's how it actually looks. And then, so this would be like your quote box. So this is this is an interesting sort of headline because I've sort of got a run-on sentence here as the headline. That's kind of where a quote box should go. All right. So let's look at what we got. Do I call out the audience? So in the eyebrow, there's a couple rules that we want to cover that I use today. Do I call out my target audience or do I leverage some credibility? And in step with calling out the audience, do I sort of present a result? So let's see. Revealed for the first time ever the 7.1 million secrets. I would say there's a little bit of credibility and result in here. So the eyebrow here is not quote, quote, terrible. More. This headline, I mean, when I look at it today, I don't know why I chose that. Maybe it was like just some in-your-face marketing stuff. I don't love more. Knowing what I know today, it'd probably just say NESB or something like a unique mechanism. So here's what I'd probably do if I rewrote this today. I would use my credibility. So I would say like veteran copy chief or $50 million copy chief, which I'm well above 50 at this point. I just stopped tracking in like 2020. $50 million copy chief. reveals for the first time ever, the big four selling emotions, the secrets to getting more from your marketing and advertising. That's probably what it would look like today, right? Veteran copy chief reveals for first time ever. The big four selling emotions would be the core headline. And then the deck copy, let's talk about it. So the headline here, it doesn't satisfy either of those headline types that I mentioned before. Biggest thing ever? No. Something slightly quirky? No. There's not enough here. There's not enough context. It's kind of gaudy. It's kind of gross. But Tyler, if you're listening, you could switch this headline right now if you wanted to jump into Go High Level and edit it. That's what I say. Veteran copy chief reveals for the first time ever. Or you could drop like something that copywriters would use in terms of lingo, A-list copy chief. People love the term A-list. So right there, I know I'm speaking to my target audience. I'm using their lingo. I say a veteran A-list copy chief reveals for first time ever, ... as an eyebrow. The big four selling emotions, something like that. The reason why I don't have the big four selling emotions as the core headline is because I don't actually identify, this sales letter is not about NESB. The reason I didn't do NESB was because my blueprint did not have a NESB sort of core theme. So my blueprint was the big book of income, which basically it just listed like 50 secrets on how to make income, but they're all just like fascinations. And so I didn't have a good swipe or blueprint for selling a book where they explain like what's the secret in the book. Instead, they have a bajillion secrets. And this is something else I noticed about writing a book promo was you don't actually describe what's in the book, which is something that was like an aha for me about sales letters in general, is I don't sit down and like walk you through my mechanism. That's not how you write a sales letter. You'll notice that if you look at any of our sales letter breakdowns. So the big four is like one fascination out of all the fascinations inside of this. Then the more customers, more sales, more money, more success, more happiness. Okay, let's look at the deck. So the deck copy, I say it should be a reiteration or a reframe, or it should be the promise. So for instance, in the sample headline I just spoke, it goes, veteran A-list copy chief. Ooh, eight-figure A-list copy chief reveals for the first time ever the big four selling emotions. Okay, that'd be the headline. That's it's a unique mechanism. And then it would be the $50 million secrets. 7.1 is fine because 7.1 is how much I had made when I wrote the book. How much I had generated, not made. Gotta watch the legal fees. So then I'd say, yeah, the big four selling emotions, the $7.1 million secrets to getting more from your advertising and marketing. So that's your deck copy would actually iterate on the core promise, right? So that's fine. More customers, more sales, more money, more success, more happiness. I know now that if I was going to go beyond the deck copy, there's like two things you could do, which is like a short little bulleted like highlight reel. Like you'll see some articles in the news basically summarize the main points in bullets right below the headline. You could do like 3 fascinations. This is rare. I'm throwing this out there as like this is I don't think I've really ever done this, maybe once. What I usually do here is a quote box. And so if we go to copysquad.net /, I'm not sure what this URL is. What's trend jacking? Tyler, are you at your keyboard? Is it trend? Okay. So if you look at this, I have a quote box from me right underneath. Look at this. This is something I wrote last year. Look at how it's different. How I'm 10xing my open rates with. So 10xing my open rates is the promise. It calls out my target audience, and it says how I'm 10xing my open rates is some credibility, all looped into that. See how it's so subtle. It's all communicated. Internal trend jacking would be like your unique mechanism. And then the promise reiterated, a unique plug and play email. Again, the mechanism that skyrockets opens. There we are again, the promise, no matter what market you're in. And then under that was a quote box of me saying, finally, something that, works no matter what or something like that. So again, that's, if I were to redo this today, that's how I would change it. So again, hey, Tyler, if you want to run with that, if you want to go refresh, take their money and just change them words, I got no argument. I mean, this could be, it's crazy because like just because of this call, this might change. He says, I'm typing it up now. Give me more time. All right, I'm going to show you another thing I would not do today, right off the gate. All right, so let's drop the beats real quick. So we're in Act 1. And remember, when I wrote this, I did not have the beats. I didn't invent the beats until 2020, I think. I'll have to look up the date of that first call where I actually went over it with the team. And what we're doing here is pattern interrupt, trigger BS, drop some cred, and then demo. Tyler said, give me the headline. I would say 8-figure copy chief reveals for the first time ever is the eyebrow. The headline, I don't want to say the main headline complex is the big four selling emotions, because as you'll see when we dive into this, I don't talk about the big four selling emotions. So Tyler says 8-figure A-list copy chief reveals for the first time ever. So get rid of the A-list thing. 8-figure copy chief reveals for the first time ever. What we want to say is like the emotional language of copy, something like that. Like, because that's what my pattern interrupt is gonna go into. So your where it says more, it would say like the emotional selling language. I would say that the emotional selling language instead of more. It said the emotional selling language, and you can maybe put selling language in quotes. Okay, and then underneath that, you would say the $1 million secrets to getting more from your advertising and marketing. Okay, so your deck copy now will change from the $7.1 million secrets to the multi-million dollar secrets to getting more from your advertising and marketing. And then I would get rid. I don't know if I like this anymore. This lower deck, more customers, more sales, more money, more success, more happiness. I don't know. Maybe I was watching a lot of Mad Men right there, and I wanted to channel my inner Don Draper. We're selling happiness. So here's what we would do with the Act 1, the lead. Here's something that's really important, and I always have to call my writers on this. What's in it for me? They'll look at all of these things in isolation almost, and they won't frame them all as results oriented. That's something huge. All these pieces should be results oriented. What does that mean? It means in everything that I say, it should suggest that you will get the end result. Okay. So while Tyler's working on that headline, let's look at my pattern interrupt. Take a look at this, right? My classic go-to pattern interrupt format. Always in my back pocket, like if I need a pattern interrupt right away. Now, here's something I would not do today. Take a look at the number at the bottom of this 5,000 row sales report. Looks like, see, I still got the date range. So 2018 to 2018, January 1st to 12/31. And then at the bottom. So what I did for this is I got Agora Accounting to send me a literal breakout of every sale that I made. And so it was about 5,000 rows long, and it listed all my sales. And at the bottom was a total of 7.11888894. What I would not do today is I would not have a illegible chart, like a spreadsheet that's like impossible to read. I wouldn't do that. I tried to make it bigger and use the red circle. Boom. All right, check it out. 8-figure copy chief reveals for the first time the emotional selling language, the multi-million dollar secret to generate more revenue from your advertising and marketing. Okay, I got one update. As I just said, the deck copy should sort of reiterate the promise. So like the multi-million dollar secrets still is a little bit vague. I would like to include something mechanism related here. So you could say the multi-million dollar secrets, speaking directly to the emotional brain of your customers, no matter what market you're in. You could do that. Or you could kind of go, instead of multi-million dollar secrets, you could say how to speak to the emotional brain of your customers to generate more revenue from your advertising and marketing. So there's two ways we could go. We could start with the multi-million dollar secrets to speaking to the emotional brain and cut all of this. Or we could cut the front and say how to speak to the emotional brain of your customers to generate more revenue from your advertising and marketing. We'll take a vote. Which one sounds sexier to you guys? Keep the multi-million dollar secrets or keep to generate more revenue from your advertising and marketing? What do you guys think? Don't everybody not answer at once. Tom says, eat multi-million-dollar secrets. Zach says, keep generating revenue. Paulo says, secrets. Tyler likes the how to speak as a start. Yeah. What I don't want to do is I don't want to stuff it. So one thing that I see people do is say the multi-million-dollar secrets to speak to your customer's emotional brain and generate more revenue from your advertising and marketing. Okay. So let's do this. We've got a mix up here. Let's rewrite this line, Tyler, to say how to write multi-million-dollar copy that speaks directly to your customer's emotional brain. So I can get both. How to write multi-million-dollar copy that speaks directly to your customer's emotional brain. You can do that, and then we'll refresh again. Okay, so back to the pattern interrupt. What I would not do is, one, wouldn't do a spreadsheet. Two, I wouldn't do a pattern interrupt that was based on the results. I would not pattern interrupt with the results. So I can give you a gazillion. Tyler says no matter what niche or industry you're in. I think that's fine too. Yeah. No, you could just say niche or industry is too much. You could say no matter what market. So there's an old Alex Becker YouTube ad where he like slams the wolf mug. I think he was doing drop shipping or something. But he slams the wolf mug down. He's like, this mug generated a gazillion dollars. Even there, he's like showing you like something besides the result, although he ties it to the result. I just came out with like, here's the result. I don't like that. Like I got the sales report and then there's a result underneath. Like I don't love that. I would want to do something that represented the opportunity a little more. So now that we're talking about the opportunity being speaking directly to the emotional brain, how could I physically or visually represent that? Like take a look at this. I mean, an easy way is always to just show a report, show a book. You know, take a look at this. This is the study where one doctor discovered the power of speaking directly to the emotional brain. And I could use the Antonio Damasio study that comes later, and I could tease that here because I will be talking about Antonio Damasio and the his patient who like lost his ability to use emotion. Apostrophe here, Tyler. Customer apostrophe S or S apostrophe for plural. But either way, just an apostrophe there. Yeah, this looks better. I like this better already. All right. So you guys understand why I would do the pattern interrupt differently and what I would do. And if I did actually show the study by Antonio Damasio or a printout of it, then it would give me like a lead way. I'll bring it back later, you know? But I was new and I just want to throw the result in the reader's face. And back then you could write whatever numbers you want and make whatever promises you want.